Hello! First-year student Cassie is a typical nerd who is bullied by popular girls. The student aspires to join the cheerleading team, but after another failed attempt, decides to take drastic measures and takes a self-designed drug that should turn her into a stunning, graceful beauty. But great beauty requires great sacrifice, and soon a side effect of the serum is discovered. Cassie begins to unceasingly grow in size. Cassie Stratford, a freshman and the daughter of once famous cheerleader and team captain, Brenda Stratford, tries to make it into the university's cheerleading team. The tryout is once again unsuccessful for the awkward girl with face spots and disheveled hair. After this, the first year's mentor, arrogant Brittany, takes the opportunity to publicly make fun of her. After the failed audition, Cassie returns to the university lab with her partner, Kyle. Shortly thereafter, their research mentor, Dr. Higgs, visits the office and brings with him an investor, Mr. Gray, the head of a company that provides rejuvenation services to women. Cassie and Kyle show the man the results of their latest biological development, with the help of which they were able to completely restore the damaged mouse snout. Cassie says that originally their development was aimed solely at rejuvenating epidermal cells, but the result of selective regeneration involving only healthy cells has surpassed their expectations. Mr. Gray, encouraged by this discovery, immediately promises additional funding for the project and is about to celebrate the resounding success with the team by opening a bottle of champagne. But Cassie leaves the lab on the pretext that she is busy, leaving the men alone. Cassie and the other freshmen go to a girls' party full of unreserved students, but all three are kicked out because they don't look feminine enough. Upset, Cassie returns to her room and hears from behind the door that her roommate Jet is not alone. So the girl takes a seat in the hallway and calls her mother. Brenda enthusiastically tells her daughter that Cassie's older sister's team won an award in the city cheerleading tournament, and the girl is forced to lie that she is also doing well, so as not to disappoint her mother. Brenda is not interested in her daughter's academic success at all. Once in the room, the girl looks at her face in the mirror with sadness and decides to improve what she was given by nature. Cassie sneaks into the lab and carefully studies a photo of the mouse's disfigured face, which has become beautiful and cute again, and decides to take the desperate step of trying the drug on herself. She pulls out a syringe with the serum and injects it into herself, not noticing that a few drops have fallen on a passing spider. The next morning, the girl wakes up and goes to the bathroom first thing. Cassie suddenly notices that she no longer needs her eyeglasses, and that her facial skin and hair look flawless. In addition, her figure is now that of a model, clearly surpassing every cheerleader at the university. So Cassie decides to go to the Saturday night Greek party, hosted by the insufferable Brittany. Stunning everyone with her appearance, the girl enters the party wearing a gorgeous white dress that emphasizes her new slender body. She relishes superiority over Brittany in her awful Medusa costume, but in a moment of long-awaited triumph, the girl's phone rings. It's Kyle, and he tells her that something strange has happened in the lab. Somebody has ripped apart the cage of their experimental mouse and eaten the poor creature. Kyle asks the girl to come over so they can figure out what happened together, but the girl decides to stay at the party to satisfy her new interests that are only available to beautiful girls. Cassie attracts the handsome Brandon, captain of the football team, whom Brittany was hoping to have a relationship with. The sight of the two talking enrages the girl, so she announces mandatory humiliating contests for freshman girls, in which Cassie has to participate as well. Despite being forced to drink heavily, Cassie shows impeccable physical fitness, which makes angry Brittany hysterical. Before Cassie's sudden transformation, Brittany was the best, brightest star. The girl goes to a football game with her bestie Jet. She reveals that she injected herself with an experimental drug that turned her into a Barbie overnight, but she still hasn't told her science partner about that, because all her thoughts since then have been completely occupied by handsome Brandon, whom the girl is watching, mesmerized. After the match, one of the cheerleaders goes to take a shower. Tiff is alone enjoying the hot water when she suddenly hears a strange sound in the locker room. She looks around anxiously, but it turns out to be just her boyfriend, who sneaks up on her, expecting intimacy, and doesn't get what he wants. After the guy leaves, Tiff hears strange noises in the bathroom stall again, and believing it is still her boyfriend, gives the impudent man one last warning. To her horror, a huge spider is standing in front of her. The girl manages to escape from the monster, although the price for that is a twisted ankle. At the next cheerleading workout, Tiff shows up on crutches, and an enraged Brittany laments that they will now have to completely change their performance. Suddenly, Cassie shows up on the field to replace the injured cheerleader. Brittany sharply declines, but the other girls suddenly step in for Cassie. and the girl performs flawless stunts that earn her a ticket to the cheerleading team. Before class, Cassie excitedly brags to Jet about making it into the cheerleading team. The girls are quietly listening to the teacher when Cassie is suddenly struck with unbearable pain and has to leave the lecture. Jet takes her friend to the science lab, where Cassie continues to suffer from terrible pain. Her body is undergoing incredible metamorphosis. Soon, Kyle shows up and sees what fantastic changes have happened to his research partner. Cassie tries to explain herself, but the furious guy doesn't want to listen. He understands that the girl used the experimental serum and offers to develop an antidote immediately. Jet also supports this idea, but Cassie declares that she is happy now. The girl has been unattractive her whole life, and now people are finally paying attention to her. Despite her giant size, Cassie enjoys living her normal college life and easily outshines Brittany at cheerleading performances. Moreover, her romantic dream comes true. Handsome Brandon pays attention to Cassie and shows his interest in the girl. In the evening, the freshmen gather for their annual fun run under the guidance of their regular mentor, Brittany. The girls and boys who came in their underwear applaud enthusiastically until the girl forces them to drink a huge bottle of liquor. Even Tiff tries to dissuade Brittany from enforcing this rule, but the girl holds her ground. The embarrassed girls are saved from alcohol poisoning by Cassie, who drinks the bottle in front of the stunned crowd, among whom is Brandon, cheering her on enthusiastically. Frustrated, Brittany announces the run, which Cassie declines to participate in. Satisfied with herself, the girl remains at the square, where her attention is immediately captured by Brandon, and the couple give in to their mutual attraction right there. Suddenly, Cassie's body begins to grow again, and a giant, bloodthirsty spider appears from behind them and tries to devour Brandon. But the girl saves him in time by finishing off the monster with a road sign. Shocked by her strength and size, Brandon runs away from the girl. The girl goes to Kyle for help. The guy is stunned by his friend's 2-story height, gathers his thoughts, and promises his partner he'll figure out a way to fix it. Kyle enlists the help of Dr. Higgs, whom he brings to the pool with Cassie. It turns out that the girl has gotten even bigger during their brief time apart, but still feels fine, despite her progressive gigantism. Kyle admits that he started working on an antidote as soon as he learned of the problem, but it's still not ready. To bring more resources to the development of the anti-serum, Dr. Higgs intends to call their sponsor Gray, but until then, he orders Cassie to hide somewhere. For starters, the partners look for suitable clothes for the girl, and she has taken them off of the huge cheerleader statue on the campus grounds. Kyle hides Cassie in the university gym. Upon his return, the girl informs him that the formula for the antidote might work if the calculations are correct, and the guy, after studying the figures, decides to experiment on the paw of the dead spider that Cassie brought with her. The girl's roommate comes to help her and is the first to notice that the shrinking serum has worked. Excited, Kyle heads to the lab to make another batch of the drug. At this time, Dr. Higgs finds Mr. Gray, whom he has asked for help. To his surprise, it turns out that instead of scientists and medics, the man is called in the military to help solve the problem. The men have disguised themselves as fans of the university football team at the upcoming match. Moreover, Gray's van is loaded with guns, as he believes Cassie to be a threat, and forces poor Higgs to get in the car and go after the test subject with them. At the same time, Brittany unexpectedly shows up at Kyle's lab and performs a seductive dance for him. The girl declares that he is the lucky one who, according to a tradition, will receive the affection of the cheerleading team before the game. The guy resists the girl's advances, who, as it turns out, actually showed up to find out about the magic serum. Trying to push Brittany away, Kyle accidentally stabs her with 2 syringes of growth agent. The frightened girl runs away, and Kyle does not manage to catch up with her. Jet, meanwhile, helps her friend pass the time at the gym. The girl offers Cassie an ice cream to cheer her up, and with the intention of bringing a giant portion, heads out to her car in the parking lot. Suddenly, Cassie hears her friend screaming from the street, and assuming she is in danger, gets out herself. The friends see Mr. Gray and his van. At first, the man tries to act friendly and offers Cassie to go with him to a different place where he would like to organize some tests. However, alarmed by the armed soldiers, the girl resists, and Kyle, who has arrived to help, also intervenes for her. In return, the guy gets tasered, and against Cassie, the villain intends to use real weapons, but she escapes. Mr. Gray and his accomplices rush after the huge girl, who simply has nowhere to hide. The pursuers quickly find their target, and the man, who cleverly distracts Cassie by talking, manages to hit her with the darts of a giant stun gun. The girl finds herself shackled on a sports field. Jet and Kyle are also brought there. The guy is furious that Dr. Higgs is letting Gray take Cassie away. The enterprising man has already ordered an airship to do so, and if inquisitive media starts asking questions, he'll just tell them that it's a plastic doll. At this time, Fans, athletes, and cheerleaders gather at the stadium for the upcoming game. Cassie's mother appears among the spectators, having come to see her daughter finally live up to her expectations. However, she suddenly learns from her friend that Cassie hasn't shown up for a workout in a week, and in addition, quit her job. At this time, the enormously large Brittany takes the second costume from the cheerleader statue and goes to the stadium to track down the hated rival who has ruined her life. Jed and Kyle try to approach Cassie, restrained in the stadium, with a huge cannon loaded with an antidote to gigantism. Yet the partners are confronted by a military officer, who ruthlessly knocks out the hapless rescuer and proceeds to beat him while he lies on the ground. This brutal scene does not escape Cassie's attention, and the enraged girl tears off the shackles to protect her friends. Kyle immediately offers his friend the antidote, but the girl refuses. Before that, she wants to deal with Brittany, who went on a rampage at the stadium. Cassie finds the villain on the field, and the two girls face off in the most epic fight of the century. The rivals mercilessly slap each other, keeping it even for a while, and yet Brittany turns out to be stronger. She manages to capture Cassie and bring her down. The outcome of the battle seems certain, but Stratford manages to break free and strike back, causing both girls to partially tear off each other's clothes. The audience sees an unbelievable battle between two half-naked giant women, which Cassie eventually manages to win. Cassie immediately goes to explain herself to her mother, whom she tells that she did it to meet her expectations. And while Brenda is talking to her daughter, Kyle watches with horror as the defeated Brittany is once again growing, as the girl had received a double dose of serum. The villainess becomes much larger than Cassie, but the girl fearlessly sets out for another fight. However, a rematch is not destined to take place. Kyle comes to his friend's aid just in time and hands her a huge syringe filled with an antidote. Cassie immediately injects it into her rival, causing her to instantly shrink in size. It turns out that Kyle has a few more shots ready for Cassie, and the girl, now ready to accept her appearance, agrees to the injection. Having become her old self, Stratford finally turns her attention to Kyle, the trustworthy and loyal partner who has always been there for her. Suddenly, the guy realizes that Brittany's dosage was miscalculated, and the cheerleaders find an angry dwarf under a pile of clothes. As always, you'll find the name of the movie in the description of the video. In the meantime, let us know in the comments. Would you dare to use a drug that would make you perfect in the blink of an eye, but with unpredictable side effects? And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next awesome story.